are at a municipal marching band. My friend Lavette is here, sitting right next to me, and my friends Jim and Laura drove us to the band shell here at the Memorial Park where the band concert is taking place. And we'll give you a lot more details later about her visit. It's been great fun. Yeah, I kind of like this kind of music. What do you think? Okay, we are on our way to Lemon, to our ranch, with Lavette beside me here and Jim in the driver's seat and Laura beside him, and we just ran into a bunch of cattle. I don't know if you can see them or not, because we kind of are not sure. The GPS is telling us weird things. So they, yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is through the...
What?
Through
Tons
the,
of flies.
Oh, through the windshield you can see a herd of cattle.
Oh boy, yep. Lavette took a picture with Be My AI with her phone, so...
Now,
yes.
we're in the middle of them.
Now we're in the middle of them. That's funny.
So you can see them out your window now.
Yep. So you're probably seeing cattle. Well, her phone picked up on the ones in the through the windshield there.
There's cattle, and I mean...
You're right, it is a category.
You're right in the middle of cattle.
Right in the middle of the road.
So we're getting, yeah, an adventure. We're taking the scenic route.
4 feet. Send it.
Oh, that's funny.
Very serious text to
No. There is a wire.
There is.
A herd of cattle in the middle.
Can we turn around and go reroute in, like, oh dear. He said...
Those are cows now behind us. Send it.
I'm seeing this one wire, but they will not move so I can see from one side to the other.
Maybe you should honk a little louder. Maybe longer.
You might get mad.
Okay, well, it's a pretty sturdy, high enough off the ground.
Yeah, but that was one wire.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to...
Cut.
Could be electric.
Go back.
No, I'll hold my
But I
trouble
don't
if you
think
cut it.
so.
Go.
I think it's just, I see both ends. I think it's just hooked on.
For any time. This is when you need the car alarm.
yeah, really.
Just in case you need a weapon.
No weapon. Yeah, that's gonna help. How heavy is that cow?
Yeah, I know he's getting out. Narrate the story.
Hey Buns, this is Laura, or Lavette's guide dog here beside us, of course. Being so nice and well behaved.
She thinks we've arrived.
Aw, she's getting all ready to go. We're not there yet, I'm sorry to say. I'm gonna record a few minutes of you guys if you don't mind. Lavette is teaching Jim and Laura how to play this new version of Backgammon. It's Russian Backgammon. Where would be a good place for me to get a good view, do you think?
I'd go
Right there.
between... Oh, yeah.
Right there.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Just look at you guys.
Yeah, because where you're
Look at
looking,
the board.
Here's the
You might have
board.
to look down.
Okay,
So I think
yep, so this is the Braille, the blind-friendly backgammon board. And so yeah,
When they
they
describe how it's braille friendly.
yeah,
Blind
you can
friendly.
describe it.
Describe how it's blind. Well, there's you can feel the spots because there's like tape on them.
Uh-huh.
So when you're counting, you can
Okay,
feel
yep.
them. And then the men, the one color has tape,
Cool.
and the other is just flat.
On pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so that's the basic gist. It's a lot more complicated, of course.
Well, that's not the game. That's
No, that's just the board.
describing the board,
And
yes.
braille dice have their dots.
Right.
Yeah, do we
Raised
have
up.
braille dice
Yes,
here?
As
I've got them
opposed to
right here.
print dice
Oh.
have their
Here's
dots.
one if you want it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, they're easier to read. You can read regular dice too if you are
Fingers
careful.
Are sensitive
Yeah.
enough, yeah.
But yeah,
So
so
did you move, Jim?
I
Okay,
haven't done the
here's
third
the dice
row yet.
back.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't done the next row.
We went to the petrified forest today, and that was interesting. Even though I had been there just a couple of weeks ago, I saw more things that we took more time for me to actually explore the various things too. And Lavette
Learn
and Jim
about
and
the
Laura.
cannonball rocks.
Yes, the sand that was caused by flooding and millions of years ago, and it was just really interesting. She was telling us in the gift shop all about it. And then we made peach cobbler, and that was a very long story in and of itself. I should have been recording some of that, how we adapted. We didn't have flours, so we adapted corn, oatmeal for flour. Laura is really good at adapting so on the fly, and Lavette had the recipe for the cobbler, and
Oh,
It's
yeah,
your
it's still
turn.
in the kitchen.
yeah, and then the kitchen was unfamiliar to all of us,
Oh,
of
double
course,
sixes.
because I'm
Oh, I've
not
done a lot
here
of
very
doubles.
much, and things get moved, of course.
Wow.
So yeah, it was an adventure, but it's smelling delicious. So if it
So,
tastes as good as it
Now all
smells,
my men are in. So because they're all in, this now will become a one position if I needed it, but I don't. So when I think about that, I'm not really sure why that matters. But anyways, so whoops. So
last
that
night
was
we
double
played.
six.
We had a jam
So
session, and they were out, and Lavette and Laura were knitting in the other room, and
I wasn't knitting.
oh, weren't
actually.
you?
No,
Were you,
only
Laura?
double ones.
Not last night.
Okay, neither
So
one of
we'll
them were
see, this
knitting.
is-
Hey, hi everybody. Seems like it's been a long time, but I'm getting back into the swing of things again now. I'm recording this with my glasses so that the video is consistent and the quality is consistent and all that. So I'm just back out here on my swing, which I should probably stop swinging. But yeah, so you're seeing the glasses view what I'm seeing instead of my lovely face. And speaking of my lovely face, I heard you could not see that well in the last video that I did when my friend was here from Canada. So that was kind of a bummer, especially considering all the trouble we went to. Because beforehand we positioned ourselves and asked Be My AI and everything if she could see both of our faces clearly, and if the lighting was good in the room, because we couldn't do it outside, it was so hot, and like how far away we needed to be from each other so that it would pick both of us up. But then I decided to change my top. And the reason for that is because I realized that I had a thin, long-sleeved shirt on, and we were talking all about the heat in our video, so I thought that would be kind of silly if people would be wondering why I was wearing that on such a hot day. And the reason for that is another long story, that we had the air conditioning on full blast so that it would be cool by the time we got into our 108-degree temperature, so because otherwise the air conditioner sometimes has a little trouble keeping up. So we had to we were like freezing in the house, which is why we thought, oh, we'll just go outside for a few minutes and walk the dog, and then we had our little adventure and everything. And that's why I was still wearing that thin shirt, but it had long sleeves, so I changed out of that. And then I forgot to recheck the camera after I had changed into my cool top. So one thing after another, I just thought, I mean, how much different can it possibly be? But maybe I even bumped the lid of my laptop, which would in turn have, it would have messed up the camera view or whatever. But for whatever reason, my head was cut off, so you'll have to pardon that. And I guess that will make it obvious to one and all that these videos are being made by a... So it should be obvious to one and all that these are being recorded by a blind person. And I might have redone the video under some circumstances, but like this was a video with my friend and I wanted it to be all natural and everything, and so then I was wondering, like, is there anything that can be done about it? Maybe I could just edit out my face and so on and so forth, and I'm sure with the magic of tech nowadays, there probably would be something to that effect, but I have not gotten around to doing anything like that yet. But it's still got quite a few views under the circumstances, so apparently it didn't bother most of you very much, probably mostly the blind people in my audience. But I just really want this to be more of a casual format, so I'm not going to be too worried about getting everything perfect and having it professionally done and all that kind of thing, because I want you to get the most kind of realistic picture possible, flaws and all. So anyway, as you have figured out probably if you've watched this far, the first clip in this video was of the outdoor concert that Lavette and I attended with my friends Jim and Laura, and the audio turned out pretty well. Probably even you could hear it better than you could the day of the concert, because we were pretty far back, which is probably why, according to my Be My AI at least, you cannot see the band in the picture, which is kind of a bummer. You can see the audience well. Oh, I forgot to ask it if you could see the guide dog sitting right there beside me. Between me and Lavette. Lavette and I should say. So yeah, that's what that. I didn't record very much of it, or keep very much of it, I should say, because of the fact that you couldn't see the band. And I had recorded part of another concert that I had attended in Lemon, but that was kind of the same thing where you couldn't see the people, so I mean the people on stage. So I guess my glasses don't do well with that kind of distance yet, which is kind of good to know, I guess, the range. And then the second clip is of our little adventure with the cattle, and of course apparently you can't see the cattle very well in that one either. When I did the when I did the view from the windshield, you can't see them, but when I looked out my own window, apparently you can see a bunch of cattle in that. So I'm glad I turned my head, because I knew the cattle were all around us, so that I would be able to see some if I looked out my own window. So that's a taste of country living for you. Jim had to get out of the van, or the Suburban, or the Expedition as we call it, which is the vehicle that I inherited from my mom when she passed away. So we make a lot of trips out there in the ranch, or to the ranch. Usually my son is driving, but for that trip last week, Jim drove it for the first time. And anyway, then the last clip was with us playing backgammon, or I wasn't playing, but I was taking video of it a little bit, just to give you an idea that there are many games that either are accessible or that you can make accessible. And I mentioned the peach cobbler on that video that we had made, and it turned out great. But I have to give a huge shout out to Ira again, because they came to the rescue. Jim was outside exploring the ranch, so there were only blind people in the house, and we have a new stove out there now, which is not very accessible at all. So unfortunately, it is not even, you can't really even make it accessible. Like, we try to put magic dots on it, those bumps that you can just glue onto surfaces, but the touch screen on that thing is so sensitive that even just sliding your finger along to find the dot in question activates the button, no matter how lightly you're touching the screen. So I had to call Ira, and they had to direct my finger without me touching the screen to push start, and then like 400, and then bake. And so that was quite a feat. I had to like hold the phone in my left hand with the camera, of course, facing the back, and then put the first finger on my right hand against the phone, so like they would have a frame of reference and could see my finger in relation to the camera, and I had to keep that all consistent, and then hover, and that was kind of a weird angle too for me to try to do that. So I probably couldn't have done it for much longer, not to mention we would have run out of patience, because the other frustrating thing was that it would time out after a few seconds. So I don't know what we'll be doing about that, whether we'll have to we'll have to figure out some way to rectify that, or maybe I think now I'm probably used to it enough that I could do it a lot faster, but like I would get the start button pushed and then 4-0, and I might be on like the last thing, but then it would time out and we'd have to start over. And so we had to do this twice. Once in the morning when we made the quiche, Laura put together a really yummy quiche, and it had some of Levette's cheese, or dairy-free cheese in it, because she can't have much dairy, and we found a cheese that we weren't sure was going to work or not, and the quiche was a little different format than normal, just because of this different cheese that we had, more of a melty type texture, but it tasted awesome. And so we had that morning, and then had to do all this again with another agent in the afternoon. I guess I could look up their names in the history, but they were both great and very patient, and yeah, so I'm just glad there are options like that available at times like that. And then that night we had a nice campfire around our fire pit, which I recorded a video of our campfire that we did with the family. I should have gotten a clip of this one too, because we had roasted. Jim had some hot dogs handy that he was roasting, and he didn't have his guitar though. That's a bummer, because he couldn't find a pick for it. He usually will tear up a credit card for something like that for a guitar pick, if you can believe that. I'm sure we have a million around there, but none were coming immediately to hand. So we did not have a music for our campfire, but